Navigating this ever-evolving landscape requires not just innovation, but also the right enablers and the solutions to drive transformational change.
It's being like handed the keys to a futuristic car. Exciting, but you still need to know how to drive it.
And that's why we have assembled a fantastic panel of experts who are not just riding the wave of technological change, but are also steering it.
Please welcome Swarup Bose, founder and CEO of Celcius Logistics. If you think cold chain logistics is just about keeping things cool, let me tell you, it's a lot cooler than that.
Next, we have Chirag Jain, CEO of Get My Parking, who has taken up the ultimate urban challenge, finding the right parking spot. His work is a testament of how technology can solve everyday challenges in our cities.
Next is Venkatesh Narayanaswamy, co-founder and CEO of Agraga. He is on a mission to revolutionize cross-border logistics and is like a seasoned pilot who knows all the shortcuts while navigating the complexities of this space.
Abhishek Jha, CEO and co-founder of Elucidata, where he is filtering out noise from existing scientific literature and finding mission-critical datasets.
Amit Sukhija, founder and CEO of ZestIot, which is an IoT AI-powered connected operations platform that empowers businesses, including aviation, with proactive decision-making and predictability in operations.
So basically, is Amit trying to make sure that companies can foresee their problems even before they happen?
Yeah, kind of a crystal ball for your business operations.
And we have one of our rock star founders, Tamanna Dhamija, CEO of Convosight, moderating this panel for us today. She is the true maestro of community engagement.
A big round of applause, everyone.
Tamanna, over to you.
Hi everyone, very happy to be here. And thanks Vikram for the wonderful song. That was the best part of the morning. And it's really an honor to be here with my fellow founders who are doing some groundbreaking work across industries, from changing the landscape of aviation to supply chain in cold storage to cross-border supply chain to making data AI ready. Without further ado, I'll pass it on to each one of you to introduce how you're changing, doing some groundbreaking work, and introduce your products, and I'll go in the end.
Hi, my name is Amit, and a pleasure to be here and share with you what we do. We all take flights, and in a very simple way, we're building a technology and the entire platform behind the scene so that each one of us as a passenger can expect our flight to depart on time. And for that, empower the ecosystem as well as the passengers with the real-time technology. And the disruptive tech and the AI, how do we use that in this space to make that impact for the ecosystem is, this industry has been missing with the generation of data due to lack of visibility. And AI has made this a significant disruption in the industry today, where AI is generating 100 data points for every flight, and that too with a very high degree of precision. Now what does it do? As a result, it can lead to accurate prediction of 30 minutes before, 45 minutes before, when exactly aircraft will be ready for departure. As a result, the entire ecosystem have a significant reliability on decision making, ATC having a decision making on the basis of when the aircraft should be ready for departure, when it will go into sky, based on that when it will land, and then you can expect the entire ecosystem to work in a very efficient manner because AI is generating data which is highly accurate, leading to very high degree of predictions, and as a result making that impact for everyone, the entire ecosystem, and all of us making sure that we are not waiting for our flights, when the boarding will start. That's what we do.
Hi, I'm Abhishek. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of Elucidata. Just to give you some context about who I am and what the company does, I want to step back. And so I was trained as a scientist. I see one of my professors in the room here. I did my PhD and postdoc, and then I worked at a small biotech in Cambridge. And there are a few moments in your career where they stay with you. And one of these moments I had in my last job when the company had a retreat. And the CEO that I was working for, he was also a practicing doctor. So he would insist that, there would be a patient who comes and talks to us in those retreats. And in one such retreat, we had the privilege of listening to a woman. She was born with a mutation, and she had a reasonably functional life, but the quality of life was severely compromised. And for this mutation, it's a very rare mutation. She had to get blood transfusions when she was just 6 months old. So imagine all the stress and horror that the baby and the family would experience to do that. And by the time you're in your 30s, your spleen is shot, so you need you need to get rid of your spleen. Anyway, this woman, shared her story very bravely, very transparently. And at the end, she said, which has stayed with me, that for patients like me, all I have is hope, that someone somewhere is doing something for me. And even if it does not help me, it may help the next person like me. And she requested that if we do one extra experiment, one extra analysis, one more meeting before we head home that day, it would mean a lot to her. And it hit me hard because as a scientist myself, I know that I waste a lot of hours rather inefficiently. And when I look back, that was the starting point of Elucidata, with the promise to give back that hour to all the scientists who are bringing drugs for patients like her and us. Unfortunately, all of us will get sick at some point in our lives. And our mandate at Elucidata is to introduce efficiency so that better drugs reach patients faster, at the right time, at the right price, and so on and so forth. I'm looking forward to participating in this conversation and share more with all of you, but I hope this gives you some context as to who I am and what the company does. Thanks.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Venkatesh. I'm the founder and CEO of Agraga. What we do at Agraga is ensure that we give complete control of international supply chain for large enterprises and the small and medium enterprises in India. Over the years, we have seen that India is becoming, the China Plus One strategy is playing out, and India is becoming very strong in its access to global markets. And the amount of cargo that moves out of India has significantly increased. The potential that is available to access global markets and ecosystems that are opening up are quite wide and large. But challenges that Indian exporters face today is the ability to completely control the supply chain and make sure that they are able to reach their cargo to customers internationally. So at Agraga, we are focused on building out a platform that gives complete control to customers, both exporters and importers from India, as well as making sure that with significant reliability that we are fulfilling solutions to ensure that the cargo reaches their customers on time. That's primarily what we do at Agraga. To give you a broader perspective, today Amazon, Walmart, and eBay have opened up global markets. The ecosystem has opened up. So if a small exporter from Moradabad needs to send shipments into Minneapolis, he does not know where Minneapolis is. He does not know what all statutory compliances he has to meet. How does he send the cargo? What are the optimized solutions to reach the cargo to the destination? He's not aware of that. And that's what we simplify at Agraga and make sure that the solution is presented out to him with optimal efficiencies, plus making sure that at the reliable level we are making moving the cargo from India to his customer on time, every time. That's what we do. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Chirag. I'm founder and CEO of Get My Parking. We are a B2B enterprise technology company disrupting $140 billion parking industry globally. We're primarily focused on US and Europe. What we are doing is something very similar to Shopify, but for a vertical industry which has not been disrupted for ages. And imagine in the Western world when you're finding parking and paying for parking. You're spending more than 10 minutes just interacting with the equipments there, lining up at the entry, lining up at the pay stations, taking tickets, paying for your session, and then getting out. What we have done over years is created a platform where we can connect with all the incumbent hardware, reduce the capex involved in the industry by 80%, and increase the speed of entry and exit in parking lots, and also to find parking spots in urban areas drastically. The entire technology stack is created on computer vision, and we are now using AI to uniquely identify every car which enters and exits parking spaces, and associate a payment method with every car so that we can make it extremely seamless for the end parkers to interact with the parking locations all across the world. We are currently deployed at around 3,000 locations globally, so we are truly making the entire industry, transforming the industry and making various technology disruptions sitting in India all across the world. One of the key things which we have been seeing in the parking industry, which has been very interesting for us, is major disruption caused by changes in mobility patterns, whether it's EV or autonomous vehicle, and we'll talk more about that later. But overall, very excited to be here, very excited to be in parking industry and touching urban commuters' life.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Swarup. I'm the CEO and founder of Celcius, India's first and only tech-enabled cold supply chain platform. We are a team of people who have been digitizing the entire cold supply chain industry in India. We're working with segments like dairy, pharmaceutical, agriculture, quick commerce, modern trade, QSR industry. We are exclusive suppliers to quick commerce giants like Zepto and Zomato. We are working with big dairy companies like Parag and Mother Dairy and Creambell. We are working with pharmaceutical companies like Abbott and GSK. What we are doing is we are optimizing the huge wastage, and we are working towards food security, especially in India, where we have annual wastage of about 23%, which translates to about 1.3 trillion rupees every year that we are wasting in perishables. This wastage is during transit, during storage, during usage. So every time you're getting an ice cream which is half melted and you're trying to freeze it and eat it, that's not us. Every time you get an ice cream which is good, that's us. Every time you are able to use a life-saving drug with the correct efficacy without having it expired or wasted during transit, that is what we are working towards. The cold supply chain in India for the past couple of decades has never seen any innovation. But if you see the market across the world, in Middle East, in Europe, in parts of Asia, you will find that cold supply chain is the golden ticket item. But in India, unfortunately, we never saw any innovation. It was always the same method of working year on year. And when COVID hit, we realized as a nation that without the proper cold supply chain, even the massive amount of COVID vaccines we were making could not be distributed. And it became a big topic. Fortunately for us, we started the company at that time. Our first project was with COVID vaccines. And today we have progressed to handling supply chain in more than 500 cities. We have enabled more than 600 brands to expand their footprint. We are not just working with the giants of the industry, we are also working with a small Momo seller in Hyderabad, enabling him to sell in other cities, increase their footprint in other cities. And happy to say we are working with more than 150 small brands. They are startups, cafes, cloud kitchens, and we have enabled them to sell their products, increase their sales in other cities beyond their own native place. So cold chain is what Celcius is doing. Thank you.
Hi, so I'm Tamanna, the founder of Convosight. We started our journey about 4 years back, and I'll give a personal anecdote on how it started. It started when I could not find a bottle for my son to feed because I was exclusively breastfeeding him and I had to go back to work. And I found the answer in a WhatsApp group where another mom suggested what bottle to use. So that was like the aha moment where I realized that on digital, there's a whole section of communities on WhatsApp, Facebook, and they are walled gardens. There's no way for brands to tap into those communities to understand what consumers are talking, and no way for them to become a part of the conversations. 4 years out now, we work with over 150 brands. So it's mainly large brands like Unilever, Nestle, P&G, helping them tap into these communities to get a deep understanding of consumer pain points, preferences, what do they want, what do they care about, but also engage with them meaningfully through community marketing. And through this, we've enabled over 3,000 community creators in India alone in the last 4 years to earn $3 million. Along with that, we've also started an entire social intelligence platform. So just one question to all of you, that how many of you have checked your Instagram, YouTube multiple times since morning? Multiple times. Just 2 people? Yeah? Yeah, so few are honest, rest are not. But so that second aha came about 18 months back, where we realized that conversations are moving beyond communities to these other influencer platforms where all of us are engaging, whether we are just passively consuming content or we are creating content. And we realized a huge gap in the market, that there are no platforms that are meaningfully helping brands understand all these conversations, where each one of us spends few hours a day. So that's just data. So what we do now is we ingest data from all social platforms, and we analyze it, aggregate that data, analyze it, both video and text, to provide meaningful insights to brands. So I know Egos is a portfolio company here. I was just looking at some data for Egos. And one interesting thing that came out is collagen is spoken about a lot. So for Egos, just to even put collagen on the packaging, because collagen is spoken about with the consumption of eggs. So just that insight could be so meaningful in getting the message across to the consumer. So that's what we do. To my panelists, there's a lot of talk about AI. I know all of you are using AI in different aspects, of the work that you do. So maybe let's just touch upon that how has AI enabled you, whether in product or better go-to-market? You want to start?
Yeah, in our case, it was very interesting thing that turnaround problem of the flights is a very old problem. Maybe probably 10 years, 15 years since the industry has started seeing the volumes. And maybe it was waiting for the right technology, because people were all using walkie-talkie to do assessment of the situation and then communicate that information to a control tower, and then somebody smartly listening to all of those voice signals and then mapping a picture in the brain and making a decision. And thankfully, what AI did is, AI and I would say IoT and sensors, they all generated that same amount of intelligent data in the operations space across multiple touch points. At an airport, for example, one can imagine, let's say Delhi airport as an example. So 3 terminals, 1,300 flights are managed each day. And there at any point of time at the airport, there could be 200, 250 flights. And for every flight, close to 20 to 30 people directly are contributing to make sure that it is getting ready for departure. And 100 plus data points are collected manually. Now imagine how difficult it is for human to collect all of this, communicate and relay. So AI was the right, let's say, intervention which happened a few years back. And now everybody across the industry is talking about is, we need technology which will sense that intelligence, and with that intelligence feed it. And to a great extent, majority of our customers today are only thinking about acquiring data. But there are very few, who have now started thinking about what to do with this. Because there are people on the ground who are taking decisions, and not many have even thought about doing that. So now our job, and this is what we are trying to do and make a significant difference, is get data, create visibility, build intelligent decision-making tools for the users who are ultimately responsible for doing the job on the ground, not their management, to make sure that every passenger and their baggage is loaded efficiently in a timely manner with utmost convenience to the passenger, and flight is ready for departure. So that's a kind of connected ecosystem and with a high degree of prediction and precision to make that impact consistently each day for each flight, touching millions of passengers, is what is the impact technology is creating.
And Abhishek, it's fascinating what you're doing, right? Because you're getting data ready for AI, right? Just curious to even know, how did you, of course you spoke about your journey, but how do you think this would continue to impact? Like, what are the other use cases of this? What other industries even you think where data is not ready for AI yet?
No, so this panel alone is quite impressive in its breadth, if not other things. And if you dig deeper for the vertical that I know a little bit more about, I would like to contrast the adoption of AI or the interest around AI with the adoption of cloud. And that was when AWS had just come on the scene. I was just starting my career in biotech. And that was a much harder battle for everyone involved, with very deep entrenched interest from IT and other stakeholders. Compare that to now, right? Like, where I think OpenAI had clearly an inflection point which captured the imagination of the whole world in ways that cloud just did not, right? There's no such one unique moment about EC2 clusters, or, it just did not land like that. And so in that background, right, we are seeing very interesting things on two ends. One is on the market, right, where this interest in AI has definitely led to an awareness of what AI readiness should be, because I think that's a very under-recognized risk that enterprises sign up for. They would launch an AI initiative, they would hire very expensive resources, experts, and 6 months down the line, they realize that data is not quite ready. And I bet, I'm willing to wager that almost everyone has experienced something like that, even for data that you pull in, right? That has helped because it's easier for us to talk about it. We believe we are creating a category, and with all this interest around AI, where an entry-level scientist, C-suite has co-opted this language and is very curious. I think that has helped us. On the other end of the spectrum, where just looking at our tech stack to build the solutions, build the technology, build the product, we have been using AI quite aggressively to get the AI data AI ready. So even before OpenAI, we had the previous versions of LLMs like BERT and others that we were using, and so in that sense, we felt we were very well placed to take advantage of this inflection point that OpenAI introduced, and since then, almost every week you hear about a new large language model. So I think the whole ecosystem, right, has benefited. This is my high-level commentary on how this is helping us. But if you dig deeper, the entire value chain of drug discovery, all the way from preclinical R&D to at the very end, trying to figure out when to intervene, what dose, who should get what drug. All of those aspects are getting impacted by R&D. And there are two categories here, I believe. One is, which is a very simple efficiency argument that you make, right? So you're making a report, let's say for FDA, that takes weeks and months, huge collaboration, many different stakeholders. Those exercises, those endeavors are getting increasingly efficient. At least that's a promise, and some folks are delivering on that. And on the other end are new insights, because again, biotech pharma is very IP heavy, right? So you have initiative like AlphaFold, which came out from Google DeepMind, that generated a lot of interest. It led to a couple of billion-dollar deals from Novartis and one more large pharma company. So I think in both of these use cases, which is more efficiency-centered and also more insight IP-centered, AI is clearly here to stay, and there are some very promising early signs, and it remains to be seen how that plays out in years to come. But I think it's a very exciting time for Elucidata to be at this intersection.
Yeah, and Swarup, for you, I know that the way you've enabled MSMEs now, right, through the use of AI. So just tell us a little bit more about that.
Uh, There are two things that I would like to talk about how AI has made a significant difference in the industry, in supply chain globally is one, for enterprises, large enterprises, let me take the example of automotive industry. They have to supply just in time to most companies in the US and Europe. And with the huge impact of geopolitical scenarios in the Middle East and all the Red Sea region essentially, the supply chain completely changed out where the transit times going into the US and Europe increased by almost 30 days. And with this change came in multiple challenges for them where the ports which were transiting cargo became congested. So how AI has made a huge difference is that we are able to clearly predict and give the information to large automotive companies on when they need to place an order in India so that their shipments arrive into their factories just in time so that their production lines don't stop. So the ability to analyze how many weeks of delay is projected over the next 3 months in a transshipment port like, say, Dubai or in Rotterdam, and being able to clearly give them data analysis on when they need to plan production and how they need to source their parts from India or any other part of the world has impacted them to make sure that they are receiving their cargoes on time and making sure that they're able to continue their production and there's no disruption in the overall delivery to market or go to market scenario for them. So that's where I think data has played a key role in scenarios like this. For the MSMEs, I think it's more at the base. These MSMEs are new companies that want access to global markets. So somebody sitting in, say, Jalandhar is manufacturing sports goods today. Cricket is becoming huge in the US. He wants to access the US market, but he does not know how to send it, when to produce, which are the key markets in the US that he needs to export to or which cities he needs to export to. We are making it simple for him where he is actually able to just go and type in asking scenarios saying that how much is it going to cost me to send 100 bats or cricket bats from India, from Jalandhar to probably New Jersey just before the T20 World Cup. And we are able to tell him that it's going to take you 30 days to reach there, it's going to cost you 2,000 rupees a bat, and it is the ability for him to understand how this journey is going to take place and what documentation and necessary actions he needs to take to be able to access the market. So that is the kind of data that we're providing to the MSMEs, which is very basic because they don't understand global markets, they don't understand new geographies that they need to access to. And these small manufacturers across the country, I would say, whether it's the tier 2, tier 3 markets like Badoi, which is manufacturing carpets, or handicrafts in Moradabad, or the handloom industry in Jaipur. All of these suppliers want to sell internationally, but they want to understand how the cargo reaches there, what they need to do to be able to sell in these new markets and be able to certainly expand their footprint across the globe. And that's what data has done, giving them easy information at the time that they need it and making it more understandable at a very, very rudimentary level is what I would say. Thanks.
Actually, for us, we ingest about 3 million videos, conversations daily. And with the advent of all of these AI models, the way that we decode one video is a different model for audio. We break the video into frames, and then the speech gets transcribed. For that, we're training another open source AI model to get the insights. And then we have over 100 visual factors. So if this was a video, who's talking, what colors are being used, everything gets captured, first decoded and then aggregated into actionables for a brand on what videos work the best at what point should a product be introduced, what should the message be. But I think all this has only been possible because there's over 800 models out there. So we're using a mixture of those models to come up with the best visual output. So I think if that wouldn't have been the case for us, just the insight from the video content would have been at a very suboptimal level. So it's game changing. And just in 12 months, what we were doing 12 months back to now, it's just game changing with the advent of AI and all these models. So, Chirag, let's talk about EVs, right? All these autonomous cars and EVs, and how has that changed the landscape of parking, and what does it mean for you and the work that you're doing?
Sure. So EVs have been very, it's been a very hot topic in the global landscape, and we are in a Scandinavian market where 50% of new cars being sold are electric vehicles. So we see a lot of intercept between parking and EVs. In fact, parking is said to be the next, let's say, the British Petroleum or the fuel pumps of the world, where all the EVs will end up charging. We today have almost 1,000 EV chargers on the platform where you can park and charge your car alongside parking. So we are seeing a significant push from macro forces to embed EV charging inside parking, and that is bound to happen. It's inevitable. Only thing which we have to see is at what pace it picks up in different markets. And EVs, along with autonomous cars, we've seen a lot of changes coming up in the parking industries where you don't even have a driver in the car. So how would the car come inside, interact with the APIs which are being now created on top of the physical layer, which is the physical parking asset. So the digital platform, which is now enabling all of these autonomous cars and EVs, is becoming very, very critical. And we see EVs becoming an integral part of the parking industry, both from charging and also from having a fully integrated single ecosystem where the cars can pay for charging and parking all together in one single session.
It's fascinating how the landscape is changing. And Swarup, any plans of introducing EVs into the coal supply chain?
Absolutely. Coal supply chain is a movement of sustainability, food security, food safety. EV is something that we align ourselves with very closely. Unfortunately, India is not yet ready with the right infra, not the right product for what we need. We need a commercial four-wheel EV that we are waiting for. The day the right product comes in the market, you will see Celcius putting up the largest last mile delivery system using EV. It makes sense environmentally, but it makes business sense also for us. I mean, as a B2B logistics platform, the biggest cost that we incur is fuel, diesel. On a daily basis, we are spending 40-50 lakhs worth of fuel across India. When EV comes into play, and initially with the last mile distribution, we save a lot. We actually add 5 to 7% to our bottom line just by transitioning into EV. We couldn't find a proper supplier across India who could support us in this. There are a few innovations coming up. Tata's coming up with a vehicle. And then there are a few other startups who are coming up with commercial four-wheelers. And we are waiting for them. So EV is going to be the next big push that we do in the coming couple of years, where you'll see a huge transition where cold chain, because cold chain already has electrical refrigeration systems available. It's using a technology called eutectic systems, which is already there in the market and we are using it. Unfortunately, we don't have the vehicle to back it up. So now people are doing with CNG and whatnot, but it's not very efficient. With the right EV vehicle and with the right eutectic electrical refrigeration system, we are talking about a completely green vehicle moving across India and reducing the carbon footprint by a lot. So waiting for EV to catch up.
Amen to that. Okay, so we have less than 2 minutes. Just one quick question. So imagine 5 years out, Ivy Cap Day, and we're all on the same panel. We have a new song by Vikram. What is the one thing that you would say at what stage you're at?
Impact 2 million flights with 200 million passengers, generating $100 million of revenue. Product made in India for the global market.
We believe we are on a category-defining journey. There's a paper that came out a few years back which says that genomic data alone will be more than YouTube plus Twitter data combined. So that's what we are going to deal with, and that has huge human implications. So our mandate is to impact 50% of all the new drugs approved by 2030.
At Agraga, we believe in the next 5 years, it's going to be extremely different from what the landscape is today, with the government push of exports having to double in the next 5 years, moving to almost 2 trillion in terms of commodity exports. I think Agraga will play a significant role in shaping up and giving the push MSMEs access. So we hope to serve at least 2 million MSMEs on our platform to access global markets with significant ease and making them globally competitive with reduced costs for logistics across multiple countries. Thank you.
So we would be touching every car owner in US on a yearly basis, generating over $100 million in ARR.
5 years, right? Sitting in between Ashish and Vikram on a fireside chat, talking about how in 5 years we got listed, went into different countries, become the largest Asia player in gold supply chain, going on to conquering the world. I think that's where we'll be.
Thanks. Thank you, everyone. And thanks for sharing those interesting aha moments while building your businesses, right from the milk bottle to the cricket bats. An interesting 5-year journey also.